Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network. In this show where me, Jan, Ainali and Albin Larsson is editing Wikidata live. Hello Albin, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. I'm still having this winter wonderful here, so spending my days outside. And how are you, Jan? Any snow coming up?
Not yet, but a warning for some snow coming in here. We had really chilly and windy here today, so it was cold outside.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's probably going to be chaos because people here are not as used to snow as in Sweden.
Indeed.
Yeah. What are you planning to edit today?
I'm gonna show how to. We have done this previously, where we have used Wikidata, SparkQL, and Quick Statements to do edit with only those two tools.
Mm-hmm.
Today I'm gonna use a different SparkQL endpoint than Wikidata's to import data into Wikidata using Quick Statements, and that's SparkQL. So we will do the matching with Wikidata in that SparkQL endpoint, and then just import it in Quick Statements if everything goes as planned.
If everything goes as planned, all right. With an ambitious plan and a good set of workflow to learn, because it will sort of expand the possibilities.
Indeed. I figured this out just a couple of weeks ago, and I have used it for a lot of imports since then.
Ah, nice.
And you, Jan?
I'm gonna go back and show a variety of a few tools that I think we have shown most of them before here. We've done deep dives in different kinds of lexemes tools. And today I'm going to show them all to give you a sense of what is the difference between them and when do you use which one of them. And also a little bit perhaps give you a taste of what a workflow can be like and which of them who doesn't really fit into a workflow as such, so to speak. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to try to do. And let's see if I can share my screen here. I had to change my browser quickly because one of the tools later I'm going to show, I'm going to need to share the audio as well. But I think this works. Yes. So let's start here. So we have shown this tool before, and you can find it here at lexemeforms.toolforge.org. And it is a tool that will help you add forms to lexemes or create new lexemes based on a form. So we have two kinds of forms. We have variations of a lexeme, which is called form, but then this is actually a form in the web sense. So I'm going to show you. I feel most comfortable doing this in the Swedish one, but you see, as you can see here, you have a lot of different languages to choose from, and then they're more or less based on the same. So based on a few grammatical rules, web forms have been set up that you just can fill in. And I'm going to show you exactly how here. So I'm going to choose a noun in Swedish. And here you have this nice little thing. I think I can zoom in this once or twice, like that. That you have like an example sentence, and then you just need to fill in your word. So you get help with how you would actually use the word. So you don't really need to know the grammar of your language like properly. You just need to know how to speak it. And because with this example sentences, it's so much easier. And for this, I'm going to see here. And it also will tell you if this lexeme already exists. So I'm going to try here with one that I think does not exist. And if it exists, it shows up a yellow little box above it. And then I get this in determined form. So I'll just add it here, and then in plural. Need to be able to spell though. Now it's Maybe I took water over my head. All right.
Yeah, that's not the easiest one.
No, it's not the easiest one because so this is the Swedish word for fuel, and I noticed that it was missing. And here is the genitive. All right, so here I have we have in Swedish, we have 8 different forms for a common noun. And now I just click create here. Of course, you need to first authorize this so you are logged in. And then you just click create, and it will do the edit and take you to the lexeme that was created. So you can see here how it actually looks like when done. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit as well. So you can see here, so it automatically added the Swedish, that it is a noun, the grammatical gender here, which was where I was selecting the form to do. And then we have the different forms or variations of it with the correct grammatical features. So it's very easy to, by just using your knowledge of talking, or like if you're a native speaker of a language, to just add this. So I use this tool quite a lot, both to create, but also for the ones that exist to add forms to it, because if you can go into an advanced mode. If there's missing forms, you can still add it through this. So it's really, really a handy tool. So this is a good starting point because it helps you create a lexeme. So that's where I'm usually starting here. Let's see if there's any comments in here. Oh, hello, Nicholas. Yes, I'm doing lexemes today. And then, of course, we see here one very important feature of lexemes is what's called senses. And this helps you understand what this word actually means. And it's important to add them to help others help edit this. Now I think this in particular will be easy because there's nothing really you can mistake it for, but for some there are like several meanings. Unfortunately, there's not really a tool that you can plug in a sort of workflow tool chain to do this. So I'm going to show you a tool that does exist. So it's called Machtsinn, which I think is make sense in German. And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. You can see in the top right here, I'm logged in. And now this pulls a or lexeme in Swedish in this case, because I already set it up in my settings. And then it looks for something with the same string in the item namespace, the namespace in Wikidata, and just see these strings match and present them to me as a human. Is it a match or is it not a match, or should we skip this? And for this first one, we have theory, and this is a result of abstract thinking. So I would say this is a match. So now I'll just press, it's a match. And you can see it did something here. And if I'll press and open this new one, we can see it actually added it here. And it also added a statement linking to the queue item, which is very good. But as you saw here, I didn't pick what comes, because this is something, it's a query in the background, saving it to a database to present for the users to work from. So I can't make my own list. So when I'm working here, it's more or less random for me as a user. So it's not a tool in your like a workflow chain if you want to use in a specific topic area, but it's a very good tool for the community at large, so to speak, because if we are many people editing, we're going to add up the census for all the things that are missing that this tool can sort of give suggestions for. So that's one of the tools in the tool chain. And then another thing, I'm not sure if I shown this one before. Did I have a banner for the? So just give you the link here as well. So here's where you can find it: machtsin.toolforge.org. And then the one that I have shown you before is called Lingua Libre. And that one is for adding pronunciation audio, so you can record it easily. And to show it to you, I have to stop share here and share just a tab, so I also get the audio to you. So let's see if I can find that tab among all the tabs I have open at the stream. Yes, so here we have this one set up, and let's see, it's a mix of Swedish and English here, but you see the basic instructions in the middle, and you also have a test here, so you can test that your audio is okay. So I'm going to try to make a test. Oh, I need to press not on the screen, but on the button. Say something. And it reads it back to you. Did you hear that?
It was very, very low.
Very low. All right. Yes, but trust me, I heard it much better. So right. you sort of get this feedback immediately that your audio settings are all right. So here I'll just go for the next page here, and it gives you some. Oh, now here it's in Swedish, but it's sort of telling you what is some information about the speaker, and it's preset if you've done this before. And then you want a list, so I'm going to add the ones that I just did. And unfortunately, this is a little bit of a manual. Work here. I'm going to add the same 8. Forms that I had before. Let's see if my memory and language skills together can get the 8s without going back to the. Yes, I think these are the 8. So I have eight words in a list, and I'll just go to next. And then I have this thing where I'm going to read these 8 in a row, and it's going to tell me to stop and start. And I don't have to push any more buttons than actually starting it. So I'll go here with starting. Bränsle. Bränslet. Bränslen. Bränslena. Bränsles. Bränslets. Bränslens. Bränslenas. And it recorded all 8 there, so all done. And you go to the next step. And now you have a possibility to listen to these that they're actually well recorded. So you can go to play here. I cannot hear anything on that phone. There was something missing in the first one. All right, so I'll uncheck the first one. This one was good. All right, the other 7 were good. And then it's just one click here to upload Wikimedia Commons, and it makes 7 uploads different uploads in my account because I already logged in here as well and connected. So we'll see if this one works. 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right. So I'm going to go back here and try to record the first one again. So I'll press record more words, and it kept the one that was missing here. So I'll just go for next here again. Bränsle. And let's see if this time it worked. All right, so let's upload that one as well. And it seems like it's done. So you can check your uploads on Wikimedia Commons and go to your special :list files. And you can see here 8.
No, I think you're just sharing the tab.
I'm just sharing the tab, and I was sent away to a new tab. Thank you. So let's see here. I'll click that one. Yes, there we have it. So you can see I have 8 audio files here. But then, of course, now they didn't get automatically added to the item. So here's a bit of cut and paste exercise. And I showed you this in a previous episode, but more or less you just go here, add a statement, and this one is called pronunciation audio. And drop it down here and publish. I'm not going to do all 8 here, but it's still a little bit of an exercise.
I think we're seeing the wrong tab again.
All right.
I was a little after there. I was imagining if you could just give it the lexeme and it would populate the list and populate the right uploads later on.
Yeah. Now let's see. So here's the one I added where you didn't see. So let's show you the one here. So add statement. The property is pronunciation audio. And now it's not going to be this one, but this one right here. And you'll do this for all the 8 different files here. So this one actually do plug in a sort of a workflow if you have a topic like I'm going to do these set of words, because you can do this list, decide it by yourself. So we had the first one, the lexeme forms, where you choose what you want to use. We had the Machtsinn, where you don't really choose what you use, but you can be quite quick and connect things. And then we have another tool here, which is also, I think it's quite interesting. It's also a bit random still. There might be some other features later. So I'm going to show you here. Now I'm going to stop this screen share again. Oh, yes. Oh, let's share first. So this is on GitHub. There's a tool called LexUse. And it says here how you install it. I'm not going to show you exactly how to install it now. I'm just going to give you an idea, a taste of how you can use it. And then later on, you can decide if you want to go through it, because this is a little bit of a manual work. It's not as easy as just going to a web page and have it set up. But I already done this, as chefs usually have. So I'm going to share another app here. And hopefully now you will see my terminal window here. And don't be scared by this, because then you're going to be even more scared in a minute. So, oh, did I just stop?
Yes.
There. So I'll start this little sort of script, and right now it's only available in Swedish, but I'll try to talk you through here so you get a sense of what it actually is doing. So I'm just starting it, with this command. And then it says a few, oh, this is actually in English, so you can see here. Pay attention to the forms. Try to choose. So this, what it's actually trying to do is trying to suggest to you examples to add to this lexeme. Like how is this word actually used in a sentence? And this one is connected to 2 databases for Swedish right now. They're text from the European Parliament and this texts from the Swedish Parliament documents. And it also says you're going to have them on your watch list. So do you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. And now randomly, or not really randomly, but sort of, it makes a query with some sort of minimum requirements for this. And it gets one of these forms, and then it searches for them. And as soon as it gets a match, it's going to try to show me it. And now here in the bottom, it says, found the following sentence with 9 words. Is it suitable as a usage example for the noun form bils, which is cars in singular in Swedish? And then
Right.
it says spiked wheels is a vital part of the car's security system or safety system. And I think this is a pretty good example. Not only does it show the grammatical proper form, it is the right form. There's no other forms for this specific noun. And what I also liked with this specific example is that it actually puts it in sort of in context. Sometimes in this Parliament document, you get something completely different, but here it's actually talking about a car and the wheels about it, tires. So I'll add this, say this is a good, so I'll press Y for yes. And then it also says here, it has one sense, and then you have to check. Sometimes a word can have several senses, and then you get a list here you can choose. But this one is the right one, so I'll press yes. And I've specified my login details, and now it actually very quickly made an edit and moving on to the next already. So let's go back and see what actually happened on Wikidata. So I'm gonna stop sharing the screen now. I have this running in the background. And now I was actually doing this as my bot. And we'll check the bot's user contributions. And here we can see the most recent one, and we'll check the diff. And here we can see we actually added quite a lot.
No, we can still not see you, I believe.
Oh no, I didn't share it. So I navigated to the diff. That was the boring part. The interesting part is the actual diff. So you can see that the edit it made is quite
extensive.
Extensive, yeah. So it adds the actual usage example and telling this is in the Swedish language, and then it's also demonstrated the very specific form and the sense. So it connects them. It also says that this is a formal language. Right now, it sort of assumes that everything is in the parliament is in formal language. We actually discovered that sometimes in the debates, this is not really true. So there's work being done here. And then it also has this nice reference. And what's really nice here is also when was this made, because this database spans over quite some time. So sometimes you can get some sort of 70s word into it, which might be nice to have recorded. And also that it is a written work. And here we might also try to have a switch so we can see if it's a spoken debate that it actually is. from there.
Right.
But this is a quite interesting tool. I find it quite fun to work with, even though it's not, you're not working on a specific field, because it sort of randomizes and takes the next form. But sometimes it's just hilarious where you get these fun quotes from the parliament, because in debates, sometimes they say funny things, and sometimes it's also like the what they're actually talking is interesting.
Yeah, and this is especially good because I see that the actual document is linked in the reference here. So because
Yes.
all of the documents are in Wikidata, you can
Yes.
actually like always prove that yes, this is the case.
Yes.
It actually comes from here.
So here how it looks in the actual UI, and here's the specific document, and now we could actually click through here. Oh, this was a direct link to the document. And let's see if I just do a quick, this was the, here we have it. And this is, of course, this is an interpolation. So this, I would say this is a formal written language. So it's also correctly done. And while doing this, you mostly sit and click yes or no to these examples. So it's quite an easy kind of work to do. You don't need to remember, oh, should I add the formal language and stuff like that, or all the different kind of properties. It makes that for you. So that's just a fun tool. And this one will also sort of scale up. If more people use it, we're going to get wide coverage. So we have shown two tools here that you don't really work in a specific field, but you're sort of relying on the entire the entire community to do a little bit here, do a little bit there, and together it will all come together in the end. And then we have shown two other tools where you sort of, I'm going to work in this topic area and I'm going to get this thing done. And whatever style suits you, you have some tools to choose from.
Yeah.
So that's my sort of tool overview today. I think that's more or less what I plan to show.
Right. Then I'm gonna go on with.
I'm just gonna answer a question here from Nicholas. I missed it because I was so into it. He's talking about Lingua Libre. You can pre-generate lists and you can import them as pages, which makes it easier so you don't have them like I did, add them one by one now. So you can do it and you can have hundreds or even more do it. So yes, thanks, Nicholas, for that reminder.
Right. I'm gonna jump straight into what I intend to do. I intend to use a different SparkQL endpoint than the Wikidata one to import data into Wikidata using quick statements. Previously, we have been using like Wikidata SparkQL and quick statements to make edits based on what's already in Wikidata. But we can actually do the same with another SparkQL endpoint that can output CSV. So I got this set of like persons or like person pages from the Gothenburg City Museum. So they have like, this is Hugo Larsson. And he has a external identifier to identify him. He has a VF link. So we should be able to match this to Wikidata. I'm gonna zoom in here. The text is very small. So it says that this is the same as a person in VF. Let's see if it's on our side today. It is. Yes. No, I don't want cookies. Not that type of cookies. So it, and I imagine this VF statement is also in Wikidata, but maybe this post isn't. And this just happens to be modeled in RDF, and one can query it with SparkQL. in case you have access to the endpoint, which I happens to have. So I'm gonna start to get people from this city museum that has a VF link to begin with. So I'm gonna say I want the record for a person. I want it to be of the type SOC, which is this endpoint, which is essentially a big database of Swedish museum content. So I want it to be an entity, then I want it to be from this specific museum, which would be short GSM, Göteborg City Museum. And that's a lot of space. And next, I also want to limit myself to content coming from a specific service from them, which is Nate. That's where they store all their type of authorities, like people and companies and such, which we are looking for. Those are more likely to have VF identifiers. And then I want it to have the same as VF. So that would be the very common OLV namespace in RDF. Same as, we're gonna leave that as a variable right now. And then I only want the VF ones. So I'm gonna add a filter here. Contains. I want to turn that VF URI to a string, or it's still any URI, so it could very much point to something else here. But here I want to filter it up to be vf.org. So that URI should contain vf.org. Let's see if we get any matches here. We got 5. Okay, so we got 5 different type of names here linking to VF. Here we got. Is that the single name? Yes. So we got a Bernadotte. Right. But what we have to do now, so we have just used regular SparkQL to get a bunch of things. What we need to do now is to match this to Wikidata items. So from SparkQL, because it's such an amazing thing, we can actually call different endpoints. You might have seen examples of this in Wikidata queries, where this type of federated SparkQL, as it's called, is used. But we can use it from a different endpoint to Wikidata as well. You type service, similar to the label service, and this endpoint happens to autocomplete the Wikidata one and a couple of Author ones, in case someone wants to import or work with data from Author spaces. That's Wikidata. We add some wings, and we can use continue our query here. So let's select the Wikidata item. That should have VDT-N. So it's not VDT. So this is an interesting thing with Wikidata. So when it stores external identifiers that are also URIs, like VF and this URI here, Wikibase actually, or Wikidata, only stores this part, but it's aware of this entire part as a URI. So it actually translates that the small one here into the entire thing when it adds it to its triple store to the server which you query with SparkQL. So you're going to see it complains here, prefix. So Wikidata also have these prefixes. It just happens to hide them.
Yes.
You can
It
actually
didn't in the beginning, so that came after a while.
Right.
So that's
Yeah. So you
pretty
can
interesting.
still let's demonstrate this. So if you click this one, you can say add standard prefix, and it will type some of them out.
Yeah.
And let's use Wikidata VDTN. You can see here. I'm gonna copy that in because that one I need. It's usually what one wants when you're working with like linked data, not strings. So VDTN. And VF happens to be 214. And I want this to be the same as variable. So I want it to be like this one and this one and so on. If I would have used VDT here, it would only be that part. Or in the case, if I would use VDT against this one, it would only be this part. But with VDT, I can query for all of this. Okay, so if the VF is same as, I'm gonna add an optional here as well, because I want to check if this already exists on the item. So that would be item, and this happens to be P1260. Here I'm gonna use the good old VDT 1260, and I'm gonna call it KD for now. I'm gonna run this, see what we're getting. Hopefully it's awake and well connected. It is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it directly talk to Wikidata in between these endpoints. So we can see that 2 of these likely persons have. First of all, you can see we previously had 5. Now we have 4. So one of them couldn't be matched. But more importantly, we already have 2 which has these external identifiers. But they happens to be different. They are from different museums, and this is an external identifier in which there can be more than one at an item. So now we have just verified that. But we have done a couple of matches here. What we need to do now, so if you remember.
So just a question here.
Yeah.
So this specific P1260 in Wikidata, you said we can have more than one, but we also do want more than one if we have them in different places?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Exactly. So there could be several museums could have records of the same person.
Yeah.
And we would like,
makes sense.
They are all the same in the same platform. So there's just one property, but there can be more than one of them.
Yeah.
So we can actually see the museum name here in the URIs. So if you remember what we once did with quick statements, it has a specific format that we need to follow. It wants the QID and the property we want to change. So next up for me would be to make sure we follow that format. I'm gonna look at my cheat sheet for that.
And this one you have shown more extensively in a video before. I don't remember it by heart which one it was, but it might be 6 or 7 episodes ago, or even more perhaps.
Something like that in the autumn.
Yeah. So go back and check in like the early 20 numbers if you want to see it.
Yes. It's on my to-do list to actually write about it as well, so people that want to follow that medium could do so, because I find this workflow very useful. But to get back to what I'm doing here, So quick statements do not want the entire Wikidata URI, so it only wants the Q part, which means I need to replace this first part, which I'm doing here. I'm turning it into a string, this link, and I'm gonna replace the URI with nothing at all, or the URI prefix. And I want to call that as QID, because that's what quick statements want it to be called. And as I mentioned previously, that it's a similar story here. We want to remove the prefix because Wikidata only stores the last. So I want to replace that in record. And the resulting here should go into P1260. So I named that what I want the columns to be named. I'm running it. We got those two columns. However, I only want those two columns. These ones are no longer relevant. So I'm gonna select here QID, ID, and P1260. Okay, so that's what we want. We're gonna go ahead and download this. I'm just saving it as a CSV file. You couldn't see that, but you have to trust me. And I'm gonna open up quick statements. Quick statements, exactly. And we got the text field. I'm gonna make sure that I'm logged in. I'm logged in with my bot account. So I can make edits a little faster. It doesn't really matter for 4 edits, but you can actually use this workflow to do a lot of edits. So again, in the background, you got to trust me. I am let's see, did I lose? No, I'm back.
Now you're back.
So I've been copying the result of the query just into quick statements. I have had a little bit with quick statements lately with CSV. So let's see if it works. If it doesn't, I see it as an opportunity for education, and we'll do the different format. And that is CSV. It should be possible to import this. Let's see. It spins at least.
Do you need the last column, the last comma?
I don't think I need them, but I don't think they break something. Let's actually see. It would be interesting if that has been breaking it for me all this time. Oh, that's it. It seemed to load when I remove them. Okay, it's still.
Yeah, I think we have all been a little bit glitchy here. Let's see if he quickly... there you're back.
Yeah, it seems to... I'm sorry for this. It seems to be a bit unstable. And StreamYard asks me to use Chrome instead. That's not gonna happen. Okay, I actually removed that trailing comma and it seems to load. Still looks a little odd to me, but I'm gonna try it. It's at 0%. It says 0% a little too long for me. Then I'm gonna show you the different format that Quick Statements takes that isn't CSV. It has its own custom format as well. So I'm just gonna reformat my query for that. So it doesn't have headers, instead it has you type the property here and you separate them with pipes. So that would be so essentially instead of saying things with headers, I end up saying things, okay, QID add property 1260 and this is the string. And now instead I'm clicking import version 1 commands. And we can see it looks slightly different. We no longer have this unknown type problem. So I'm gonna click run. And it says done, 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 and done. Okay, that's great. Let's go to Wikidata.
Yes, Daniel said here, you may need triple quotes. I think this was one of the problems I had. Not for this one, but when we were with CSV.
Sometimes you need triple quotes. This is not that problem.
All right.
I'm gonna go to my contributions. However, here I'm say that I actually want to go to my bot account, which is just my regular account, space bot. So we can see here that Carl Larsson created claim, Swedish Open Cultural Heritage URI, adding this identifier. And it did that 4 times for different ones. And we can actually see previously here I used the same technique for author things.
And how does it look on an item?
Let's go to Oscar Björk. So it's a Swedish painter. Lovely portrait of him. Let's go all the down to. So here we had the VF ID we matched to. So this was needed for us to be able to do this. And let's see where we got the ones we added. Lots of identifiers. That's great. And here we can see the Swedish Cultural Heritage URI. So we see that this is the one we didn't add, and here is one we did add. So an example of how one can do that. And of course we could continue with different, so we only got 4 here. I believe, for example, we could have done the same with, let's see if there is one. No, okay. So very often they have this identifier of the National Library in Sweden. And with that, one could match much more items. I just thought that having few results would be easier to explain here, and also easier to fix in quick statements. So this is using one endpoint. There are a couple of Ultra endpoints for various databases. For example, in use color heritage, Japan search comes to mind, Europeana, and a couple of Ultra ones. And you can actually very often load your own data into a Sparkle endpoint as well. So it's super useful in that way in case you actually have data in the RDF format.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's something I've been doing a lot lately, using Sparkle endpoints. I wish there was more of them, but the ones we got, they're still very powerful. And a difference from doing this in, so you can still use federated Sparkle here. Let's actually see if there are examples of that. Federated Sparkle is when different Sparkle endpoints talk to each other. Federation examples, it even has a dedicated section for it in the examples. So here we can see service, and then it calls the Sparkle endpoint which Europeana has. And in this case, Europeana need to be whitelisted in Wikidata. However, when you are on a different endpoint and wants to talk with Wikidata, this is not the case. So for example, this endpoint here is not whitelisted in Wikidata. However, we can still talk to Wikidata. Is it whitelisted in Wikidata? We can talk with it directly from here. So then you could still get the fancy autocomplete, which we got, because sometimes it's a little cryptic with PIDs and such. I think that's what I wanted to show.
All right.
Today.
Nice. That's a very powerful tool there to connecting to other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next week we will be back, but not on Saturday as usual.
No.
Instead, we're going to do a special episode on Sunday, because on Sunday next week, it's I Love Free Software Day. So we're going to have a theme day and do editing and querying around free software.
Yes. I think we will do it a little bit more basic than usual, but it will be a theme for the day, a subject we will edit.
Yes. Hopefully we'll get some promotion for this show in the FSFE's channels, because they are the ones who are organizing the free software, I Love Free Software Day.
Yes.
So, but probably the same time at 8 o'clock, but on Sunday the 14th instead. Yeah, yes. And until then, have a very nice week and query as much as you can. Bye.
Bye.